Okay. Um, yeah. Again, kind of recording a couple of these. Couple of them will be out of order because when I'm recording them, just because of the fact that like I'm going. I recorded the Montemon and the Numamon one, and now I'm gonna record Frigimon. But like in between that is where we have like Leomon and Ogremon. But because they're so long, I'm actually recording this one first, and then I'll go back later and record the Leomon and the Ogremon one because that one has a lot more character development and story that we see for them. So this video will be about Frigimon. Um, Frigimon appears is the kind of the first Digimon that the Digidestined interact with, or that Tai interacts with when him and Agumon are separated from the rest of the group. They were at Devimon's mansion, Illusion Mansion, and he, fed them fake food, and then he, waited until they were asleep, and then he like sent their beds all flying in other directions and like broke File Island apart. And the Digidestined each landed in different areas. Tai and Agumon landed in a very cold and snowy, very frigid area, and they're freezing. And Tai's clothes get frozen, and then Agumon warms them up with a pepper breath, but they're just like kind of smoking. Tai still puts them on and everything, but it's just kind of funny. And then they end up getting attacked by a Digimon called Frigimon. If I remember correctly, Frigimon is a champion level type Digimon. A fair number of the Digimon that they interact with on File Island are champion level type Digimon. But so we have the champion level, we have a Frigimon there, and then what ends up happening is because Agumon is kind of too weak to Digivolve because he hasn't really eaten that much. All the food that they ate at the mansion was actually fake. It was all kind of like illusion food. So Agumon can't Digivolve, but him and Tai still have to defeat Frigimon, and they see that there's a black gear on his back. And at this point in time, they figured out that these black gears that are in these Digimon are a problem. They're these things that keep causing a lot of problems and everything. And because they've defeated several Digimon up to this point, and they've seen them all have like black gears and everything. And what ends up happening is Tai and Agumon kind of come up with a strategy, and this is where we see kind of like Tai's ingenuity and soccer skills come in, because like Agumon like rolls himself up into a ball, and then Tai like kicks him, and then Agumon ends up on Frigimon's back. So he's able to have direct access to the dark gear, or the black gear, and then he uses his pepper breath on the black gear to destroy it. And that destroys the black gear, and it allows Frigimon to turn back into his regular self. And Frigimon, apologizes to Tai and Agumon. He's like, I don't know what came over me. I'm so sorry. That was not anything that I wanted to do. I am so sorry for causing you problems with that. And so he's apologizing, and they're like, no, it's okay. You're better now. So that's all that matters. It was that black gear that made you do it. And like Ty's like, well, now we need to go find our friends. And Frigimon's like, well, how about and thank you for, how about and me repaying you for helping for freeing me from that thing. I help you find your friends. And they're just like, okay, I guess that works. And what ends up happening is Frigimon, Tai kind of like looks around. He's like Tai is like his like little mini telescope that he uses a lot throughout the series, and he's like looking around. And he's like, well, I think Matt's bed went off in that direction. And like that direction's kind of the closest that we can get to. So Frigimon's like, okay. And like what Frigimon does is he uses his Sub-Zero Ice Punch again and again and again to make a ice bridge that travels from like the chunk of the island that like Tai and Agumon and him were on, all the way across to where Matt and Gabumon are. And then, so he's like, Sub-Zero Ice Punch again and again and again and again across the water, which works rather well. And so, Tai and Agumon are following him. And, like, they get a little cold at one point because they're getting kind of tired. And Frigimon, like, literally picks them up and puts them on his shoulders. And I'm just like, that is not a good thing to do. Yeah, let's snuggle up to the source of the cold. That's a wonderful idea in this case. It's like in the middle of summer, I perfectly understand snuggling up to snuggling up to like Frigimon in like the heat of the summer would be a wonderful idea. It's just like so much cooler. Whereas in the winter, it's just like I'd rather snuggle the giant fire Digimon. Like go snuggle Miramon in the middle of winter. Maybe wearing like fireproof something or other, but snuggle up to him to get warm. But like so they're just like like shivering. And, like Frigimon does get them to the island where Matt is, and he helps them find Matt and Gabumon. So those four are like reunited, and Gabumon starts sneezing because he got sick the night before, because this corresponds when Matt and Gabumon, when they're separated and they end up in a cave, and Matt got sick, and Gabumon had to take his fur off and put over Matt so that way Matt wouldn't, get sicker and everything. So Gabumon got a little sick, got a bit of a cold, and they go out and they find Frigimon and everything, and Gabumon has a cold, and what ends up happening is Frigimon goes off to find some herbs that can help Gabumon, and this is when Matt and Tai start fighting and everything, because Tai's like, well, I gotta find or Matt's like, I gotta go find TK and everything, and Matt and they're just fighting about like who they need to find first for their friends and everything. And like Gabumon and Agumon are there, and they're just like, what can we do? I don't know. But like Frigimon shows back up at some point, and he's found like other food, so he gives food to like Agumon and Gabumon and the rest of them, and he gives Gabumon these herbs that are supposed to help with his cold. And Gabumon's reaction is, like, this stuff tastes horrible and everything. It's just funny watching that. And they get through that, and Frigimon then helps them a little bit more, kind of, sends them in the right direction to be able to find, make their way to Infinity Mountain, which is where Devimon lives. Frigimon is not part of the battle against Devimon, but, like, he kind of, wished them well and everything, because he's kind of afraid of Devimon, and I don't blame him. But then Frigimon is one of the Digimon that shows up to help them make their raft at the end of that part. And he sends them off and everything, wishes them well on their way to go to the continent of Server and everything. And then, as I mentioned already in the Miramon video, and the Mimi video, and the Joe video, Frigimon is one of the Digimon that is one of the Digimons, part of the little army or the squad or whatever that Mimi and Joe put together when they're on their way to Spiral Mountain to fight the Dark Masters. Frigimon is one of them that is there, along with Miramon and Ogremon and a whole bunch of others. And they get there, and as I mentioned before, Ogremon is quite annoyed about having like Miramon on one side, so he's too hot, and Frigimon on the other side, so he's too cold. And he's just like, what? Someone's, he's just so annoyed about that. And then, like, they have food and everything, and they're trying to, the soda's warm, so Frigimon takes it, and he, like, hugs the soda and, like, just kind of, like, chills it enough that it's nice and cold. And, as I mentioned, with Miramon, he roasts the fish on himself. And Ogremon's just like, I guess you guys are pretty useful. Yeah, I guess you are. Frigimon, he's part of that battle against Piedmon. Also, and I kind of skipped over this a little bit with Frigimon, when he's helping Matt and Tai are attacked by another Digimon. I think it's called Mojermon or something like that. And like it shows up and it starts attacking Tai and Matt, and it has a dark gear or a black gear inside of it too, so it's not doing, it's not acting normal. And Frigimon helps them, subdue him and calm him down and everything. And so, then he's kind of their friend too, a little bit. I don't remember if he helps them with the raft or not, but he's there a little bit. But Frigimon there, he helps fight against Piedmon and everything. In that battle, I don't think he's one of the ones that's in like the picture at the end. But like he helps with that, and then of course, as the File Island and the rest of the Digiworld is rebuilt, he heads back to his ice area. we do see a couple of other Frigimon throughout the course of the season 2. There is a Frigimon that is the partner Digimon of one of the American Digi-Destined. I'll go over that Frigimon a tiny bit more when I do like the miscellaneous Digi-Destined, either video or videos, depending on how I work that. But we see him there, and then there's at one point when Ken is still the Digimon Emperor, he has a whole bunch of Frigimon underneath his control up in the icy areas, and he's like attacking the Digi-Destined with them. I don't remember if that's the episode where like Joe shows up for the first time or what. I don't remember. But or like gets to return to the digital world for the first time. I don't remember, but I know that there's like a bunch of Frigimon that happen at that point in time. But so we get some of that issue that happens. But we don't really see that many other Frigimon throughout the course of the series, unfortunately. They show up occasionally, but not very much. Nothing that, and we don't get a continuation on this specific Frigimon as far as I'm aware. Although I guess it is quite possible that that same Frigimon was one of the ones that was controlled by Ken, or was one of the ended up becoming like a Digimon partner later on. I mean, like if it was like, I was trying to think of like if he did become a Digimon partner of like anyone related to like the Digi-Destined, I couldn't think of whoever that would be. I can't think of who that would be. Maybe like one of Yolee's siblings, like one of her sisters or her brother, but I have no idea. So that's what we have for Frigimon. Again, a lot of these are more on the short side because it's like I can record them pretty quickly and edit them pretty quickly and then, get them ready. Because I might be going on a week-long vacation or so near the, depending on how this runs its course, like near the end of July or something. So I'm getting stuff like, recorded a bunch of shorter things beforehand so that way I can, post them. But yeah, shorter things, a little more introspective on like some of the some of the friend Digimon that they interact with throughout the course of the series. And of course, I'm still doing the series for the Digi-Destined discussions. At the time that I'm recording this one or these ones, I have not yet Davis and Yolee's videos are done. I still need to record Cody's and Ken's and then a bunch of the different miscellaneous Digi-Destined. But for now, I'm kind of like got a little bit of a schedule for like when I'm going to record Cody's and when I'm going to do Ken's, just because those ones are, on the longer side for videos. Plus I've got the Disney videos that I'm still recording and editing and everything. So, that's what we have for this one for Frigimon. So, it's in the middle of summer when this video is probably going to go up. So, if you have a nice ice cream cone or a popsicle or something, either while you're watching the video or after you watch the video, just go have a nice, a nice cold, frozen treat on me or whatever, in honor of Frigimon. Yeah, stay cool this summer. Yes. Wherever you are. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Bye. It's raining kids and Digimon again. I'm going to have to start carrying an umbrella.